Welcome to another episode of Cassette and the Pen. Today we will tackle an issue many artists face from young age. Why do parents often discourage their children from pursuing career in arts? We will discuss cultural expectations, financial stability, and mental health challenges that feed into this resistance. Joining us today are three artists, starting from Ada. Can you reintroduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Ada Orajiaku. I'm the founder of Atsur. We're a tech company that facilitates secure investment in African arts using blockchain technology. I won't consider myself a professional artist, but I'm definitely a collector and an art lover.
And the man in the middle?
My name is Alfaruk Umar, alias Alfaruk. I am a visual artist, and I'm also the founder of Alfaruk Gallery and Studios, a company that's dedicated to creating avant-garde projects with the focus on uplifting society and humanity at large through the nature of the conversations our projects and products actually drive towards.
Thank you. And you?
My name is Fatima Masaya. I'm a creative visual artist as well, and founder and CEO of Colorful Whispers, where I train young children, teach, instruct, and also counsel young girls and children, even adults that are willing to go to the part.
Okay, it's nice to meet you all.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Welcome to Cassette and the Pen.
Thank you.
So,
Good to be here.
let's dive in. Before we get into the deeper issue, I want to ask each of you, how did your journey into the arts begin? Was art something you were encouraged to do, or is it something you wanted to do? So I'm going to start from Ada.
Okay, for me, art came organically for me writing poetry when I was in secondary school. So I would just write like scrapbooks on my thoughts, and I always used to love like all the greats like Maya Angelou and the rest. However, adulting, the higher that I grew in my career, the less time I had to just sit with my thoughts and be creative. So I guess I'm in the technology space. I'm a software engineer. So the left part of my brain, the logical part, kept getting, I'm getting higher in class, I'm getting to university, and I'm loving it, by the way, but less time to the creative space. So what got me back to creativity in adulthood was working as a software engineer for a firm that like the owner of the organization basically is a collector himself, and he would decorate the space with awesome colors, and he would put awesome paintings around, and software engineers had the freedom to work from any corner. And I found myself that was my most productive place mentally, would be around the good pieces, like would be around vibrant colors, would actually be around paintings that got me to have peace of mind, basically. So I started making that connection that this is great. So I would patronize younger artists that we can afford, get some paintings in the house, kind of made my home space similar to my workspace, and that kind of made me just keep falling in love with it, like exhibitions and all of that. So yeah, that rekindled my love for visual arts, I guess.
Okay, let's hear Faruk's view.
Well, I like to say that I was born an artist, irrespective of whatever path I've chosen in life. Very early from my childhood days, I remember even from primary school, when it came to the subject of fine art, it came very easy to me. And I think even my teachers were already paying attention to how easy I was able to draw and express myself creatively. Another point I would like to make is the fact that I also drew inspiration from my father. What a lot of people don't know about me is that my dad is actually an artist. That's his profession, that's what he studied in school. And growing up seeing my dad painting, looking at his brushes and co, I can remember how many brushes I stole from my father just to explore art. And I know he knows I take his brushes, but he lets me. And it's part of the support. I remember my introduction to my very first oil painting. There was this tutorial book. It was assorted. It was an assorted tutorial book that taught you how to paint. And it had all these amazing landscape paintings. So you can actually say my first exploration into oil painting was landscape painting. So from childhood, the desire to express myself has always been there, and I was lucky enough to find avenues, guided avenues, through which I could actually express the thoughts in my head and the desires I actually wanted to put out there in the world. So yes, that's part of the inception of my journey into the art.
So you're a born artist?
I was born an artist. I am a born artist, yes, sir.
Okay. So let's hear Fatima's view.
Okay, art is, I think I would say, a life journey, because I remember I wrote art for WAEC. I studied art in the university. Even though it wasn't the major, I majored in graphic and illustrations, but somehow along the way I find myself doing art, and then I'm more comfortable teaching art. So, and the support was there right from the beginning. My father was international, like he was an international photographer, even though he wasn't, he didn't live long enough to see me pursuing the art career, but I think I got that art blood from from him, and I was lucky my mom too supported my career or the path I chose for art, even though there was a time I took a long break in my life and then I was so frustrated, but my mom was like, you see this, your art that you're neglecting is where your success lies in, so you should know how to just find a way and go back. Because I remember there was a lot of even when in school there wasn't any troubles or any difficulties, I find myself with ease, and I'm like, art is my happy place. So there wasn't any challenge studying art, I guess. I got the support right from the beginning.
So there was never a time you faced any pushback from family or society?
Oh, of course, society there was.
What was it like?
It was more of just keep playing, because I think people look at it as play.
Yeah.
No one take it as is something serious, or it's something as powerful as can heal.
Did you face any pushback, Faruk?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did. The major pushback came from society, where while growing up, and you know how much influence society can have on you when you're still at a tender age, especially where I grew up in the North, where there's a lot of core belief about the expressions of art when it comes to figures and human forms, animal forms, anything that actually bears life. You would hear comments like, you're going to hell. Literally. You'd hear comments like, on the day of judgment, you are going to give this drawing life and you're going to be flogged. So those are some of the pushbacks that try to hold me back. But you know what they say about, if there is no enemy within, the enemy without can do you no harm. I already had a grounded discipline and understanding of what life was all about, what was expected of me. So I was very grounded, and I had that understanding about myself, a little bit of understanding about spirituality, starting from that young age as much as my tender age could take. So what that was able to do for me was to keep heading in the direction of positive development of my abilities, and that didn't deter me from pursuing what I really loved. Because looking back now, I believe there was a time in my life when if I wasn't expressing myself through art, literally I felt like I was gradually dying. For real. It's not some metaphor. I feel like the life, it's almost like there's this energy source, energy force that's gathered within you, and it has nowhere to go. So what it starts to do, it starts to take you away gradually. It feels like there is no purpose. So I'm really grateful that despite the pushbacks, it only gave me more resolution to pursue what I really believed in. And from that tender age, those experiences from that tender age grew into even a stronger resilience in my adult years, because it might have just been just little things I was expressing when I was a child, little drawings. But when you become an adult and you chose this as a career, there are bigger projects and much more powerful projects that affect a lot of lives. And it takes a lot of backbone and determination to stick to the path. So yeah.
Thank you. How about Ada?
Well, because my career path is not in the creative space. However, I would say that I won't say I am currently experiencing pushback, but we do experience pushback as a company, basically because we are serving the creative industry. A lot of people would see the product and be like, nah, you guys are not really going to make money. Artists are poor. People are not going to use your product. Just that kind of like discouragement. But being that I'm a software engineer, I've built different products for different people as a CTO for different companies, but I've never really felt as impassioned to do my own thing until I found something that had me working closely to art, because it expands my own like creativity, and it's what I love to experience. Even though I myself, I'm not the most visually creative, but when it comes to words, when it comes to just being around it, I really enjoy it. So yeah, I truly believe like it's something like now the enemies within is there because I'm more of an adult now. I'm more like resolute in what I want to do. I think it's something that will grow, and I think it's something that is meaningful work, which is why I'm still doing it. So yeah.
It's interesting to hear your artistic journeys, your pushbacks, and how you were able to, resist all these pushbacks. So this is going to take us to the next segment. And in this segment, I'm going to have a one-on-one with you. Welcome to another episode of Cassette and the Pen. And this segment is titled Reframing Success in the Arts. Despite these fears we've mentioned earlier in the second segment, there are countless successful artists, some who redefine success on their own terms. Now, we're going to talk about what success means in the arts and how it might be different from more traditional fields. How do you define success in your career as a creative? Has this definition changed over time?
In my career as a software engineer, which is creative as well, I consider success. I define success as my ability to work on projects that I'm passionate about, to build things that actually make impact, and and also get have a living or make a living from that. And I would think that I'm doing okay, I guess. So I would say that the freedom to be able to choose the projects that I work on, freedom to be able to at least have some flexibility with my time, and making money and impacting lives on the way. Absolutely.
What would you say to parents who fear that their children won't make it as artists?
I would say have a little more faith. Have a little more faith in the kids. I would say from my years of experience, I have realized that success doesn't necessarily. There are other factors apart from the craft itself that equips a person for success. Success is more about life practices, excellence, discipline, persistence, being able to be so good at a craft that you will stand out, that you will be able to have that edge up, right? And having those skills in any craft, like, can gear someone towards success, not necessarily just being like one of the millions of engineers or like doctors that exist. So I would advise parents to imbibe those qualities in their kids, like give them drive, teach them how to be disciplined, teach them how to be excellent, how to strive for the best, how to consider the business part of their craft, not only just the craft itself, how to consider those different things that will actually like equip them to be successful. If your child is showing those tendencies or natural talents, it will not be fair or even wise, to be honest, to try to break him into the mold of something else, him or her to the mold of something else, just because you are scared of like the person not being able to provide or being able to be successful. Success isn't necessarily in the activity itself, but the other traits that combine to make that skill or like talent to expand or to reach more. So that's what I'll say.
Can you share an experience where your career was fulfilling, financially or otherwise? So we want to counter the concerns parents have that art is not a viable career path.
Right.
So there are kids like you who probably want to go into a career path as well, and the parents are telling them, no, you can't make anything out of it.
Okay.
You know, for example, AI is taking over, AI is going to do it, there's no money in it.
Yeah.
So there are parents who have concerns about things like this. And you sitting here, you're a role model to kids who want to be like you.
Yeah.
So tell us, something you've encountered, an encounter that, boosts you financially or otherwise that could counter these fears.
Okay. So an encounter, I would say, is I'll basically go back to when I kind of wanted to start in the remote work space. I'm a software engineer. At the time I got my first remote job was in 2017, long before the lockdown and all of these things. But the time that I got the idea that a person could work internationally was 2016. I remember the reason why I even had that idea was because the technology space in Nigeria is a bit more mature now. But as of then, a lot of companies weren't really doing very exciting things. It wasn't very interesting. You would just write the same lines of code and do the same thing over and over. And for someone like me that has a passion for learning and for growth, I felt kind of like I had plateaued. I wasn't doing, because I studied software engineering, I wasn't doing what I went to school to learn to do. I knew I wasn't scratching the surface of my potential. So it was literally when I was on LinkedIn one day, I found some dude talking about his experience working remotely for an international company. And then I literally assumed that he was based in the US, and I chatted him up personally, and he was like, no, that he even went to Afe Babalola, that he's based in somewhere, I think it was Ibadan at the time. And he still works remotely. That inspired me. I had that conversation online with the guy in 2016, and I can remember having a vision or a dream to be able to have that kind of life for myself.
How do you define success in your artistic career? Has this definition changed over time?
Well, yes. Initially, it was all about the money. But in as much as, yes, we want to make money, I feel it is what it is. Impact. What is it you're pushing? What is it you're contributing to humanity? What quota are you contributing? What are you doing to see that you're making the society, your environment better. That's more there's, I don't think there's anything better or anything more to it, probably.
Okay.
But
What will you say to parents who fear that their children won't make it as artists?
how guarantee or how sure are you, even if they become medical doctors, they can succeed, they will do well? So I think it has to do with passion. What's driving this child? What is, because your passion and your strength would make things easy for you. So wherever you choose, how do you have a guarantee that you're going to do well in this career or that career? I don't want to start calling careers because it is what it is. So there's nothing, it's not cast on stone. I think is your driving for the fire you have in you, the passion you have, the drive you have, and that's what is going to. And then they say anything worth doing is worth doing well. So believe in yourself and allow them to do what they feel and what they can do. You were just there to guide them, give them the right guidance, and then hold their hands. If you don't know how good the path is, I think there are people that made it in that aspect of it. And then so mentoring, guidance, mentorship, guidance. That's the key. So we're here as caregivers, as parents, to give them the right, this is the decision you've taken. Is not going to harm anybody, is not going to harm you. So I think probably as a parent, I don't know what it takes to go through this career. So, but however I can make research, I can connect you to someone that is that has been through that part, and then you can just guide them.
To counter the concerns of those who believe that art is not a viable career path, can you share an experience where your career was fulfilling, financially or otherwise?
What career? Like the art or
Yes.
another career? Of course it is. We have, there are plenty instances
Can
where...
you give us one?
Okay. How do I start now? Personal or external? Like not personal?
Personal. It's just something you're proud of in your career. Maybe
Yes.
a time you made so much money, or a time you thought an artwork wouldn't sell and you sold so much. Someone saw your art somewhere and you struck a very good deal.
Yeah. I've had instances where I got called for a commissioned work, and in fact it was, when you're intentional about something and you decide to follow it intentionally with a clean mind. And I told myself, I think it was last year, and I told myself, I was like, oh, okay, this few months is going to be a very busy one for me because I feel I'm going to have some works being done. And the truth is, when I'm doing my art, I find myself in a very happy mood that I deliver well, and it gets me excited. So I was really down when it comes to my emotions and morale. It was really very, very low. All of a sudden, I got a call from a friend, and she was like, oh, okay, there's this work that I want you to do, is for this house, blah, blah, blah. And the house is quite big. So I now got the commission. We did the, quotation and everything. And it was really a good pay. So that, and then the impact, like I said earlier, I organize classes for people, women, children. So it was art. The theme was art and your emotions. And in the beginning, I was like, okay, we're going to have a session that is not the usually paint and sip kind of session. It's going to be a very different one. Probably to take you back the memory lane. There was no paint, but there were crayons and colored pencils and markers. And there are templates of scenes, landscape, seascape, some objects, and they're just outlines of them. And I told them in the beginning of the class, I was like, oh, okay, I want everyone to take note of your emotions right now. Past, yesterday, today, now, last month, last week, or think about an idea or a challenge that you're having. Note it down. You don't have to tell me, but maybe we could share at the end of the class. So everyone just went ahead. They took note of the situation. Some people were like, oh, I'm confused, overwhelmed, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. After some few moments of check, so we now started the exercise. Okay, everyone should just pick the paper that resonates with you, picture that resonates with you. Just pick one. So they now went sun, landscape, seascape, there's a fireplace, different kind of pictures. So everyone started painting without thinking, colored pencils. After the session, we were like, okay, feedback time. So how do we feel now? And I tell you, everyone was like, oh, I feel lighter. Oh, I never thought doing something like this could make me have a solution to this thing I'm having, because I had issues with, things I've been trying to do. A lot of things has not been going all out, overthinking, blah, blah. So a lot of positive feedback after the session. So I would say for me is more of the impact. Yes, I get satisfied because with the money you get to do a lot of things, but the impact makes more impacting on people or clients have more weight, because when you see people giving you feedbacks of, oh, I feel so like it feels better now. Oh, okay, I get the hang of it. Oh, okay, now I can be able to do what I wanted to do, because initially it was so foggy. So it's really a distressing moment, distress, ease for them, more like having a problem solving session and a moment.
Let's talk about what success means in the arts and how it might be different from more traditional fields. How do you define success in your artistic career? Has this definition changed over time?
Well, first of all, I would like to start with the quote that this is my personal and favorite quote, that every ability, every creativity, every talent is a gift that's meant for the positive development of mankind and his environment. Hence, art itself should be a tool with which to achieve such a higher purpose. For me as an artist, probably when I was younger, success in art for me was being able to sell my art pieces for a whole lot of money, having access to an overflowing database of audience who want my works, and being able to tell my stories through art and to exhibit my unique style. But with time, with maturity and my spiritual journey and my commitment to the quote I just made now, the definition of success for me through art now and in life is built upon how much positive impact I'm able to have in the world, starting from the world around me, how much impact, how much growth I'm able to achieve personally in my life and in the lives of those who are around me, both in my relationships and in the physical world. The amount of positive impact I'm able to make using art as a tool. That's my definition of success.
Okay. What would you say to parents who fear that their children won't make it as artists?
Well, it's okay to have that fear for parents who are watching, but anything worth doing or a destination worth charting is bound to be filled with fear at first. Acknowledging this fear and taking it head on to ensure success on the path. I believe that should be the approach. If the destination is to become an artist, understanding the fact that understanding the challenges that lays on the path of an artist and being the right support from the beginning, being intentional about helping the child to be successful in the career, providing he or she with all the tools they need right from early stages. That's me. That's a way to take control of the narrative, to steer the journey in the direction that one would love to head.
Okay. Can you share an experience where your career was fulfilling, financially or otherwise, to counter the concerns that the art is not a viable career path?
Well, personally, through my journey as an artist, I started as an artist to make artworks, just first of all to get my art in the presence of the right target audience, to introduce myself, to let these people know that this is what I'm capable of. These are the services I'm capable of providing. I can cater to your needs in this way. And through that journey, by improving myself, my craft, and the stories, the purpose of the art itself, I've been able right now to get to a point where my artworks, the minimum of my artwork sells for nothing less than $1,000 to $2,000, depending on the nature and what series we are talking about. So this is where the growth sets in, where you're able to start from point A, where you could barely sell your work for 10,000 naira, and get into a point where you are capable of selling your works for thousands of dollars. And this is not even the destination yet, because I am still committed to growth.